So your intention. So let's get to intention and desire, right?
Intention and desire. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Why is it important, and how does it work into? We all know like desire is something like we want or whatever. It can be personal and everything. But how do we use desire in our business lives, in our professional lives? What do we do?
I think it's different depending on where you are in a business or with a business. But I think from an entrepreneurship, then I think that your business starts with your desire, right? And I do believe that if you do not have the desire to do a specific thing or do it, then you will never follow through. Because you will never be as dedicated as you need to be to actually grow your business if you don't have the desire and you have this goal that is, like, whoa, this is what I want to do,
Yeah. Interesting, because there's that, Steve Jobs quote. He talks about like, should you follow your passion? And basically he says, you should follow your passion because actually doing anything at the highest level is just so hard that if you're not passionate about it, you'll give up. And I can see why that would be valid. That's pretty much what you're kind of getting into, right? That kind of, it's so hard to really drive to that point, to face your fears, to deal with your vulnerabilities, your insecurities, and all the setbacks and failures and all those kind of things. If you don't have passion and desire, it's really hard to keep going.
Exactly. I totally agree. And also with that, if you have the desire and then you actually do surround yourself with people that are, a little bit like-minded, not necessarily like you, but like-minded, because, people that want to do something different, that also has a desire of growing as persons and growing their businesses, then you also will follow through a lot easier, obviously, and not, listening to all the biases and all the paradigms and, everything that is surrounding you.
Yeah. I think that, one of the things that's important to the way that I think and work with people is that I believe that, inside we have an inner artist, if you want to call it that. And that is independent of what the needs are of society, or other people. We have like a kind of an inner drive, something that we might want to share or whatever that is. And yes, it is, you could make a business based on what someone else needs. We need trash collectors, we need loads of things, and there's businesses that are that are created that way. Many of the people that I think are the most interesting are working from some kind of inner desire, inner artistry, if you want to call it that, and then finding needs that are aligned with that inner vision, right? So that's where that kind of seat of passion is. And that's how I see it. It's super important if you're going to do something that really makes a big impact. Because, if you think of like Einstein, he was sitting there for many years, working away as a clerk, doing his mathematics before he emerged, right, as being like the greatest genius of this century or whatever. So there's like, So, I think that desire is super important. And without it, we'd have a lot of functional things around us, but not really magical things.
No, but exactly. But if you're going to, go up every morning and go towards a goal, you have to feel passionate about it. And especially if you are an entrepreneur, you're starting your business, you don't have many peers around you from an everyday basis, maybe from the beginning, and you still have to sort of do something every day to go towards your goal. Then you have to see that this is my dream, and you have to sort of live it from the inside, and you have to feel it from the inside. You have to place yourself in the goal already to be able to have the strength of, going forward. And that all comes from the heart, sort of.
So what is it that you're aiming for?
Oh, me? Oh, God. That is an interesting question, and now I felt a bit vulnerable being on camera.
Yeah, there you go.
But I really have a passion for, leadership and strategy, and to sort of create results through that. And I hope that I can keep on working with that in different contexts continuously.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And you?
Great. For me, I have a desire and passion to help people find their own talents, their own passion, and then to be a catalyst to kind of help them not only discover it, but then also realize it. So that's what I think that drives me the most. And so I like to learn about people and then think, oh, what could we do to help this happen, to help this emerge or whatever.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. But I know that, you're quite good at, taking management teams as well and, sort of growing them and guide them through a lot of different interesting workshops, right?
Yeah, I like doing that kind of work because I see that, each individual, maybe, there's like, let's say one strong leader, one CEO who's like, especially in the entrepreneurial world or the kind of startup or scale up environment, there's like one charismatic leader, but then there are like maybe 4 or 5 people around them on the team who are also super driven and super interested, and for them to find their voice and to come together as a team is great, right? I just love seeing that happen and seeing that kind of all click into place. So they go from being an individual running fast to a little group that can go far.
Exactly. And that is sort of interesting as well because, then you have the entrepreneur and the CEO of the company that has the desire of actually, going all the way. How do we get the team that he or she is getting on board to feel the same desire of running as fast and as far?
I think a lot comes with enabling. So, most of the people who are starting companies start doing everything themselves, right? And they do things well. Maybe they have 1 or 2 partners and they're just driving and they just like that kind of dedicated person with lots of desire and passion. Then they hire in talent. Now to get that talent to start to get as engaged as they could be, I think what they really need to do is enable, empower, to give over responsibility to other people and for those people to then claim ownership. And that's not totally easy or obvious. A lot of people who are in these positions, what they'll do is they'll say, oh yeah, you are in charge of this, let's say whatever, marketing, and then the marketing person will be doing something, and then the CEO will be like, oh, we should do this, and it just shifts the power again, right? Exactly. It's not intentional, because they just want to do it, and they know that the last 3 years it's worked, so they're trying to just make these fast, but then the other person loses their pace, right? Exactly. So how do we empower and work with the dynamic to keep the company going further fast?
Right. Exactly. But do you think that, that for me, from an outside perspective, I see that a lot of companies, they fail on having a strategy in place. A strategy that everyone is sort of understanding, and that doesn't, it makes sense for a smaller company and for a bigger company. And it doesn't have to be like, 30 pages, whatever, but just, a few simple questions that everyone understands. With it, we have the customer specified, we know where we're going, where we are, what we're doing, etc., etc. So do you see that is helpful as well for, to have everyone on board? Definitely. Using the desire that we want?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think strategy is super important, right? And I think that...
It sounds so boring when we talk about it with strategy. But it's not boring.
No, because you have to communicate things. And,
exactly.
So if you have everything in your head, it's totally fine. You can run with whatever you run with, if you're a sole person just doing stuff. But if you really want to get people on board and to share your values, to share your goals and find out what milestones are important for the company and all that kind of stuff, then you need to have a strategy, and you also need to have KPIs or OKRs, whatever it is that you're working with, because otherwise you're just kind of doing stuff.
Exactly. You need the same roadmap.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's super important. Yeah. Obviously. But not just say it, right?
No, you have to do it.
You have to do it, and
to
get the other people. So the question is, how do you get people on board to feel it? How do you get them to really have the same kind of vision?
Exactly.
And you need to work with that. It's not totally obvious.
No.
And people hide their agendas, or hide isn't the right word. They're afraid to share the things that might be happening in their lives that could impact this thing. And that can also play a part.
So visual. I can't say it.
Visualization.
Exactly. Why can't I say that? Anyway, that is sort of super helpful when it comes to putting your desires into a goal and see yourself in the goal, because I think that is relevant for each and every person alive. Could you actually work with that with the people in your team as well, to sort of use visualization to get everyone into that sort of bubble of where we're going?
Definitely. So every time I'm working with a team, we're almost always finding some kind of visualization or metaphor to work with. And there are a couple of reasons, but one of the main ones is that we separate the activity from the personalities. And that can help a lot. We play with Lego, we might do, characters, and it could be cool. Lego, it could be characters, it could be,
do that.
it could be all kinds of things, right? Because basically, if you take a little bit of distance from it, you get a little bit of separation from the way that you feel. You can then work with the dynamic, and then when you assimilate it back into your own self and then into your team, it can help a lot, right? So definitely visualizing, but also playing with visualization as a metaphor. So it's not just like thinking, oh, I'm there, I'm on this beach, or I'm, standing on the podium or wherever it might be, on vacation, and we just have this great, launch or whatever. And all that's great. But also, if you're working with other people to get a vision, then I think you need to work a lot with metaphor.
Exactly.
Definitely,
I get that.
Yeah. What do you think is most important? Go ahead. What are you going to say?
I lost it.
What do you think is most important when it comes to this then?
Oh my God. I think it's, I think it loops back to the visionary being able to share the desire in such a good way that everyone feel that we're on board. We want to do this with you. We want to back you up in all situations. We want to be in the goal with you. I think that is, one of the keys. And that goes along with the roadmap, the strategy. That should be simple, obviously. But, we have this vision. This is the roadmap. We want to be there. We want to deliver. That is, for me, the important stuff.
So here's a question for the entrepreneurs out there. We have a vision. We have a roadmap, right?
Yeah.
And if you're here and you're not in this leadership team and you have this massively great idea, is there room?
That is interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting, because I think that a lot of entrepreneurs are listening to intuition, a topic that we've been discussing as well, and they have maybe an intuition that goes in a slightly different way or a loopy way towards the goal. I do believe that we need to create room for that. I do believe that we need to be as agile as possible and to really listen to the power that we have within, because otherwise we're missing out on opportunities. So being too static is not going to be helpful.
Yeah.
We can't sort of have this, what do you call that? Blinders. But we have to be sort of, there are different things that can happen along the side. And with that, we need to be agile. We were talking about not long ago, agile budgets, my God, which is super interesting as well, because that's also needed. Sometimes something pops out that needs money that you didn't think of from the beginning. So you need to be a little bit flexible with budgets as well. So, and that's a scary thing, especially for the board of management, for example, all that. Yeah. But still, it's needed, and as well in this world that is quite volatile as well. We need to go in different directions in order to become resilient and to sort of be innovative to survive.
Yeah, so agile strategies.
Exactly.
I like that, yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
Me too. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.